Hello, and thank you for joining us for this encore presentation of one of Viking's most special journeys. Our friends at All Travel look forward to building the trip of your dreams, and at Viking, we look forward to welcoming you on board. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining Traveling Virtually with Viking. Before we get started, I would like to give a special thank you to our travel advisors who invited you to attend this presentation today. Additionally, please note that our virtual chat and question box is open, so type those questions in as we go. We'll answer them during and after the presentation. And now, I'd like to introduce Richard Sims, Viking's Director of National Accounts. Richard has over 25 years of industry experience working with various cruise lines throughout his career and joined Viking just earlier this year. Please welcome Richard as we discover Alaska. Richard?
Hey, Michael. Well, good day, everyone. Thank you for joining us as we journey virtually to Alaska, one of my favorite destinations. It is truly unique in that I really feel like you can go 20 times and want to go back 21st. It really is that amazing. Every time you go, you're going to have a different experience that's going to make you say, wow, I want to come back and do it again. So, really thank you again for taking the time to join us today. We're going to have time to answer some questions at the end, but definitely want to remind you to reach out to your travel advisor if any of what I'll talk about today interests you, and answer any questions that you might have about this destination. And so first, we're going to go through a little bit of what's new with Viking, what you're going to experience on board the ship, and then we're going to get into an amazing destination that I know you're going to love. So I really hope you enjoy today's presentation. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started here. So again, traveling with Viking, especially our ocean vessels that you'll be experiencing in Alaska, truly is an amazing experience. We've just recently been awarded for the 5th year in a row World's Best Ocean Cruise Line by the Leisure Travel and Leisure magazine. We're really proud of that accomplishment. We've only been sailing the oceans 4 or 5 years. So we've got a fleet of 6 identical ships. We've got our 7th ship launching next year. So we're very, very excited to have the Viking Venus join us later this year to continue the tradition of delivering an incredible vacation cruise experience for our guests. So we travel the world. Of course, today we're going to really focus in on the amazing United States, kind of the last frontier of Alaska. And so when you talk about Viking and what you might want to know about Vikings, that we definitely have a philosophy. And first off, we don't want to be everything to everyone. We want to focus on that English-speaking mature couples. They want to travel because they're curious. They really find their vacations revolve around wanting to learn more about history, culture, the geography, taking in the sights, traveling on a smaller cruise ship as well. So that's why we've really focused on being a destination-oriented cruise line. We spend longer time in ports, and because of our ship size, we're able to get into a lot more of the smaller towns and villages. Obviously, we want to be an efficient operator and make sure we're very good stewards of the sea and the oceans that we transit. And it really comes down to service. You can build beautiful ships, you can have great cuisine, but it's all about that personal connection and having great service, every step of the way. And that's what we have at Viking, with an amazing crew, over 90% retention. So we really have seasoned veterans that have been with Viking for many, many years. And that is definitely a highlight I think you're going to experience when you travel with us. So when we look at the Viking Difference, again, we talk about the destination. And, we call ourselves the thinking person's cruise. Well, why do we do that? Because we really focus our itineraries and destinations, around an exploration. We want our guests to be able to learn, to understand, to really immerse themselves in the destination. We get you excited before you even travel. We've got some great resources for you, recommended books to read on your destination before you travel. Maybe, specific films that were filmed in that area or in the ports that you're going to be visiting. We also have some great activities, not only on board, but ashore. That allows us to really create the Viking way of exploration. We'll talk a little bit about that shortly. But really, it's also about connecting with your fellow travelers, making lifelong friendships. And that's what we hear time and time again from our guests who have made lifelong friends, and now they're traveling together on, Viking around the world. So when we look at Viking, again, it's all about the small ship. No one's really building this size ship any longer. All the talk is build big, 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 and have the latest bells and whistles, but that's not what we do. We've had over 2 decades of experience. We've really brought that experience, design and decor to these beautiful ships. As I mentioned earlier, they're all sister ships. We really focus on, with that smaller ship, medium ship, feel, that we're able to get into unique ports of call, dock right in the heart of these ports that we're going to. We only travel with 930 guests, so it's absolutely perfect, again, for those who want that experience that's, really no one else out there is offering. All veranda staterooms and above in those categories, so really spacious ship. And again, I talked about the prime berths there that we're going to have with the size of that ship. So with the cultural enrichment and bringing that culture and history to life, we've got different ways to explore. We include one short excursion in every single port of call. So in Alaska, I'll kind of give you a quick overview of what's included while talking about some of the optional experiences, because at the end of the day, we want you to really design your vacation and your onshore cruise experience with what interests you the most. And so it allows you to personalize that journey. So we've got, again, short experiences that are going to revolve around history, around culture, but also provide you some amazing experiences on board with our lectures, our historians, cooking classes, wine tasting, things of that nature that brings that part of the world, in this case Alaska, on board the ship for you to taste that region you're traveling through. And so we talked about the Viking Way, and that really provides a greater selection of options. And the way to think about this is to really think of, how much do I want to immerse myself in the destination? Because that's what these do. Local life and privileged access are 2 of the 3. The other one is working world. And on this Alaska itinerary that we're going to be going over today, I'm going to point out some of the local life and privileged access experiences as we go through the itinerary, so you can understand the little bit more deeper understanding to connect to that destination with Viking. So why Alaska? Why are you here today? What are you wanting to learn about Alaska? What makes you want to travel Alaska? We think Alaska is a destination that really everyone's always dreamed of traveling to and visiting. Maybe you studied about it in school. It's a destination that is considered the last frontier. It is safe, it's convenient. It is absolutely an amazing destination. Again, it's so diverse in all the aspects of, from the coast to the interior to Denali National Park. The experience in Seward is going to be totally different than what you experience in Skagway. Everything about Alaska really just, jumps out at you when you start looking at all the amazing places and things that you're going to be able to experience. So when you talk about Alaska, it's not that little, state floating off the coast of California. When you watch get your weather at night on the TV, they always put Alaska down there off the coast of California, and it looks like it's the size of Colorado. But I can assure you it is not the size of Colorado, as you can see here. So one of the most important things when considering an Alaska cruise is taking your time. You've got to take your time and not be rushed. And so that's why our 10-night, 11-day Alaska itineraries are really ideal for you to experience Alaska at a great pace, giving you lots of time in each port and being able to experience more. The majority of other operators out there are going to be just operating 7-day cruises, and that just doesn't give you enough time to really experience all those great coastal ports, glacier experience, fjord cruising that you're able to do in Alaska. So Alaska is a big place. So definitely a big tip is take your time so you can experience as much as you can at a nice steady pace. So when we look at the itinerary today, and I do want to point out we have a couple of different variants of this itinerary depending on the date. This is the most, this itinerary specifically is the one we offer the most dates for. It's Vancouver to Seward. You can also go Seward back to Vancouver if you want to do southbound. I personally like going northbound for one reason and one reason only. The excitement builds. Every day is just a better day. As you head farther north, it's just a great way to travel because each day the anticipation builds as you know that Juneau's next, or going whale watching in Icy Straight Point, or you're going to be visiting Hubbard Glacier. So it's a great way to go northbound. A lot of people prefer southbound. Hey, that's okay too. So it all depends on your personal preference. The itineraries are pretty much identical. There's a little tweak here and there. Again, look at the date that you're interested in and make sure that the itinerary is going to meet your needs. So again, 10-day or 11-day, 10-night cruise starting in Vancouver, ending in Seward. So we're going to go through day by day and give you some of the fantastic experiences you're going to be able to do in Alaska. So first off, we're going to start off in Vancouver. what an amazing city to start your cruise. I definitely encourage you to consider one of our pre or post land extensions, and we'll cover that at the end of the presentation. But definitely encourage you to fly into Vancouver and enjoy this beautiful city. Go to the parks, amazing flowers, no matter if you're there May to September. That's one of the things that stands out to me is just all the beautiful, colorful flowers everywhere you look as you walk around the beautiful downtown waterfront. So you'll head out of Vancouver, and that first day you'll be going through some beautiful scenic cruising there in the Inside Passage. Later in that day, you'll start entering the outskirts of the Tongass National Forest. But from day, really from that morning when you wake up, you're going to have that opportunity to see the wildlife right off the bat. You definitely are going to have the opportunity to see whales, bald eagles possibly. You're going to see a lot of, the local fishermen's boats. And you're really just going to, again, that excitement builds as you spend the day cruising the Inside Passage. Obviously a great opportunity to go listen to our lectures, our historians talking about the Great Alaska and its history. And also learning about the wildlife and the optional shore experiences. So you really get to enjoy a beautiful day, doing the scenic cruising there on the Inside Passage. One of my favorite things about Alaska, and I didn't know it until I experienced it, are the sunsets. And so when you look at the sunsets of Alaska, that is definitely one of my favorite things to do as you cruise through the Inside Passage, because as you get into that Tongass National Forest and the rainforest, it just seems to be magical. And so this is a picture I took in the Inside Passage that first night of cruising in the Inside Passage as we headed toward Ketchikan, and it just really doesn't even capture the moment. It was just one of those like, wow, oh my gosh, I mean, what a sunset. So just a beautiful way to start the cruise as you cruise the Inside Passage. First port of call is going to be Ketchikan, and the joke is you can't catch a tan in Ketchikan, and the reason they say that is that year in and year out, it's about the second wettest city in all of the United States. It gets the most rainfall. And so if you have a sunny day like you see here in this image, you're definitely lucky, and you're going to have a great day exploring Ketchikan. And there's a lot to do. You can go here to Creek Street, which is the famous district, lots of wonderful little restaurants and cafes, great little shops and boutique shops at that. You can see the salmon running. I was there this past September, and the salmon were in there by the thousands that had gone up this creek. You can actually walk up the creek more upstream and literally almost walk across their backs and not get your feet wet. They're in there by the thousands. So it's a really great little walk, and gosh, 5 minutes from where we dock. Ketchikan's a great way to start off your experiences ashore, but I also encourage you to still get back on that boat, because the Kenai or the Misty Fjords is absolutely breathtaking, and you'll be able to get on a smaller boat and really navigate through these deep fjords and the Misty Fjords there, and taking some beautiful sights, spot wildlife, especially bald eagles. So this is a great experience that you might want to consider. The included experience in Ketchikan is that we take you out to one of the totem parks, and you learn about the totem poles. It's Potluck Totem Park, and we'll do some other Ketchikan highlights as well, but really going out to the totem poles and understanding the history of the Tlinkits, the native Alaskans who were there well before the arrival of the first white settlers. So great included experience, but again, you'll have time because of that longer port stay to go out and do Misty Fjords, or go out and even bear watch. We've got a couple different bear watching experiences. And one, you can get in a float plane, fly to a specific area on one of the islands, do a short hike in, and there's a viewing platform there. Or you can go by motor coach to an area and you get on a viewing platform that's safe, of course, and look for bears there at that overlook in that little raised area, because it's right over a creek river area that is kind of a great spot for the bears to go in and catch salmon. So depending on the salmon and when the salmon are running, when you're there, will depend on obviously on how many bears might be visible there on that experience. But really some great experiences again in Ketchikan. It's a great town. Obviously it's your first stop going north, so don't spend all your money. So you've got other shopping opportunities down the road. But everything in Ketchikan's right there by the port, like you're going to find with all these Alaskan ports. So really easy to navigate, and again, great first place to visit as you head north on your cruise. One of the privileged access, or actually we've got a regular experience out there as well, but we've got a privileged access experience to Saxophone Native Village. And I love Saxophone Native Village. The natives here are phenomenal. The Native Alaskans, they really do a great job of explaining the Tlingit history and their culture. You're going to be able to interact with them and really, again, get a behind the scenes experience. They'll take you to their clan house where they will don their colorful coats, and that each tell its own stories. You can see there they've got one that's a bear, and I believe there's a crow, not a crow, blackbird that they hold in high esteem. And so you've got the opportunity to see dances. I always joke, if you don't want to dance, do not sit up front because you sure are going to be pulled up to dance. And if you don't want to do that, don't sit up front. But you're also going to go to the carving shed. And this is what I really enjoyed, because you're going to be hearing the stories about these totem poles and what they mean, and the hierarchy of how they are developed and designed and carved. And so going out to the carving shed is just a great way to experience it and watch the native carvers teach the new apprentices their tools of the trade. And it's just a great experience going out to Saxophone Native Village. And again, that's one of our privileged access experiences. So as you get into Sitka, Sitka, there's so many great things to do in Sitka. Great fishing. So if you really want to go fishing, this is probably, out of all the ports other than Seward, the premier place to go deep sea fishing for salmon. You can do some, river creek fishing here as well for trout. I believe there's a fly fishing experience as well. But here in Sitka, this is really where you see the Russian influence. This was kind of the headquarter outpost, so to speak, of the Russian territory. So you see a lot of Russian architecture as you go around the town. We've got a great, included experience here. If you want to, get on that, it's, definitely a panoramic view of, Sitka and the surrounding areas. We've got, I believe, a stop at one of the nature parks with walking trails that go to different areas that have totem poles, again, where you get that interpretation of the stories there that the Native Alaskans are, carved into that, that wood. But we also really, I can't encourage you enough, if you really want to experience wildlife, is really going on the whale and wildlife type excursions. We've got a couple of different versions of this and what it includes. But if you go out and do one of these and travel through these fjords, it's really a prime area for the humpback whales in the summertime to come in and, flash those tails and try to get that perfect picture. Lots and lots of sea otters abound, bald eagles. You're traveling in these little straits and narrows around islands that are heavily dense, rainforest. So there's bald eagles everywhere you look. This particular day we had some great whales that were putting on some show. We didn't have any that did a full breach, but we had a lot of these action like this, and it's just great being out on the water and seeing these majestic animals and just how big they are. It really is amazing. Some of these excursions also go to the Bear the Fortress experience, where they have bears that they rehab, but they're not able to turn loose into the wild. And so this is something that we really enjoyed. Very interpretive type experience, and being able to learn about them. And you can feed them. You buy, for nominal fee, they'll give you some. Actually, no, they just handed them to us. I think now that I remember, different food for them. And so they'll stand there and kind of just look at you, and kind of give you this look. And that's a picture I took of the bear, like saying, throw it to me, throw it to me. Kind of reminding me of Mardi Gras. But we, really enjoyed, the Fortress of the Bear, and again, listening to how they're rehabbing these bears and the great work that they're doing. So that's something that you might also want to consider there in Sitka. And another beautiful sunset, a different sunset than what I showed you earlier, but I can tell you, no filters on these. This is actually, this picture I took in September, and I took it with my iPhone. So absolutely beautiful sunsets, again, no matter what part of the Inside Passage you're in. So always encourage you after dinner, especially, get out on that deck and, that wraparound promenade deck that we have on our ships, and go for a stroll and look for that spectacular sunset Alaska really is known for. Juneau is, capital of Alaska, just an absolutely great city. This is probably going to be the toughest decision you have to make on your cruise. And that is because there's so many amazing shore experiences here that you can choose from that, even though we spend a lot of time here, full day and into the early evening, you cannot still do it all. So the included experience, we go out, do a tour of the city. We go to the newly renovated Alaska State Museum that's there. We take you out to Tongass National Forest and go for a walk there. There's a rainforest garden out there that's very popular. But really, it's also about getting on the optional experiences and going to Mendenhall Glacier, which you see here, and seeing this amazing glacier. It's I believe about 13 miles long now. There's a beautiful waterfall that you can't really see in this picture that's off to the right. It's an easy little walk down. So a lot of our shore experiences that you can choose from are going to be Mendenhall Glacier and something else. So it could be a helicopter up to the glacier. It could be going whale watching. It could be going on a hike, whatever the case may be. So we've got lots of varieties there with Mendenhall Glacier. So great experience. About a 15-minute ride outside of Juneau and where the ship docks. But really, this is where I always have to sign up for the whale watching. There's nothing like getting out in Auk Bay where you'll board your sightseeing vessel, going out to the Favorite Channel is what it's called, and the whales are just in here by the numbers. Last year we actually saw some orcas. Unfortunately, didn't get a very good picture of the orcas, but great whale watching here in Juneau. And so any of the whale watching experiences we have are going to be winners. You can go on smaller research vessels that hold only 12, 14 people, to the larger boats that could hold up to 100. So definitely a few different choices for you, but really, again, it's all about going to experience nature at its finest. I don't know if you've ever heard of bubble net feeding, but it's very rare, I'm told, by the different guides that I've gone on these excursions with to see it. But a couple years ago when I was on this experience, they were bubble net feeding. And this is a picture I took, you can see on the right, one of the humpbacks literally coming out of the water. So bubble net feeding is the whales locate their food source, krill, etc., and they start swimming in a circle very rapidly. And it basically makes a bubble net around the food, which forces the food up to the surface of the water. And then 1, 2, 3 whales then swim up between the ones that are circling. And as you can see here, one comes halfway out of the water. So amazing to watch. This particular pod of whales were doing it over and over and over again, probably a good 4 or 5 times. So very a neat experience. Here's another one that I took this past September of them bubble net feeding. And, it was a good, I'd probably say 8 to 10 whales. And in the background, you can see one of those smaller sightseeing vessels. And that's really what kind of the research and different experience whale watching that you can go on if you want to go on a smaller vessel. And then these 2 whales, one of the other times I was there was just putting on a show for us, just diving deep, bringing that fluke tail up, just absolutely beautiful scenery as you can see. Look at the mountains back behind you. Mendenhall Glacier is back there behind, it's a little obscured by the forest there, but that's where Mendenhall Glacier is back as we look back towards Mendenhall. But again, absolutely gorgeous day out on the water, and these 2 whales, we really literally yelled thank you to them as we went off back looking for other whales, because they really did put on an amazing show. And you're also going to see bald eagles and stellar sea lions as well. So again, great whale watching in Juneau. Between Juneau and Sitka, I'd probably definitely say Juneau over Sitka. We have Icy Straight Point coming up here soon, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And one of the other things I would definitely want to point out is a lot of our guests love to go dog sledding. And so they'll take a helicopter up to Mendenhall Glacier on top of the glacier and go dog sledding. And it is a one-of-a-kind experience and unforgettable experience at that. So again, we've got everything, fishing in Juneau as well, to whale watching, to Mendenhall Glacier, to even dog sledding or taking a helicopter up to the glacier and going ice trekking. So a lot of great things to do in Juneau, like I mentioned. And then I'll leave you. This is the final sunset picture, I promise. This is a picture I took outside of Juneau in the Inside Passage last September, again, with my cell phone, so no filter. So I love that orange and blue sky and spectacular sunset. And I can tell you, everybody was, had their cameras and was over on the, I believe we were on the starboard side of the ship taking pictures of the sunset. It caught everybody's attention. It was absolutely gorgeous. So the next port of call is Skagway, one of my favorite cities. Really amazing history here in Skagway. That's what I love about it. Definitely encourage you to wake up early. And let me go back, Juneau as well. You definitely want to wake up in the morning, get out on your veranda, or one of our public areas with those floor-to-ceiling windows, and just enjoy the sail into Juneau and going down the Gastineau Channel and entering Juneau. Absolutely beautiful. Same thing here in Skagway. You'll sail down the Chilkat Inlet, and at the very head of that Chilkat Inlet is the most northwestern city in the Inside Passage, and that's Skagway, Alaska. And it's kind of its twin sister city. Farther south is Haines. And so you can do short experiences in either Skagway or Haines. But the thing about Skagway, it's all about the famous White Pass and Uconn Route Railroad. Just an amazing experience here. Skagway's a population of 1,100, a little over 1,000, and it really feels like you're stepping back in time. This was the jumping off point to the great gold rush, the Yukon gold rush of 1898. So you're going to find wooden boardwalks, false storefronts, really stepping back in time. And so we've got a great overview of the city, tour included. You'll hear a lot of great tales from the gold rush. You'll go out to the famous cemetery and see where Soapy Smith is buried, kind of the hero of Skagway back in its day. You'll travel by motor coach up the Chilkat Trail, but of course on the highway, and you'll have some breathtaking views. You'll actually go to the Canadian border. So it's a great scenic experience that we include there in Skagway. But easy town to walk around. Again, it's rich in history. And the thing I love about Skagway really is about the White Pass and Yukon Route Railroad and its history. This is the steam locomotive, or the snowblower #1. This is a famous snowblower, steam snowblower that cleared the tracks as much as 30 feet. Snow drifts could be covering the tracks at any specific time. But the White Pass Yukon Route Railroad, it's been designated an International Historic Civil Engineering Landmark. I believe that was done back in the early 1990s. And it's really an honor for them, because only 36 other engineering marvels in the world are included. The Statue of Liberty being one, Eiffel Tower being one of the others. But it's really an amazing feat of what was accomplished with all the obstacles that they overcame in designing this. It's a narrow gauge railway because it's literally built on the edge of a cliff, and you're going to be given some amazing scenery. And I definitely encourage you, if you love trains, this is one of the most scenic railways in the world with spectacular views. And definitely encourage you to definitely take the White Pass and Yukon Route Railroad. It's an absolutely amazing experience. Once again, we've got a couple of different options that you can take that are included with it, or you can just do the White Pass and come back down into town straight away. But again, absolutely beautiful experience. I highly recommend it. However, we still have some great outdoor activities that you can partake of as well. We've got some canoeing opportunities over in Haines. You can go kayaking on Chilkoot Lake, which I've done and is absolutely beautiful and breathtaking. Great relaxing experience to go kayaking. So a lot of great experiences there in Skagway. You definitely, again, you're going to feel like you've walked back in time, and it's going to be one of your favorite stops along this amazing cruise. Your next port of call is Icy Straight Point. And a lot of people don't know a lot about Icy Straight. There's a rich Native Alaskan history here. It started out as a kind of a fishing town, exploded into an old logging town, or a logging town that's kind of gone in by the way of over the years. There's a large Tlingit community that's here, and so you're going to be able to learn and understand again more about that Native Alaskan history, and go to some different things. I believe there's a theater that you'll go to, the Heritage Center Native Theater that they'll have there. They do tribal dances and cultural legends talks and performances. So it's a great included experience there to give you that history and Native Alaskan history of Icy Strait. We've also got some great experiences, especially around bear watching. So this valley, there's a valley here, and I know I can't pronounce it correctly, but I believe it's called Spassky River Valley. And it is famous for having one of the highest densities of coastal brown bears per square mile in the world. So if you want to go bear watching or you want to go see a bear, you got it. That's top of your list of what you want to experience when you go on this trip. Definitely want to consider going on that particular experience. So it's this Spassky River Valley Wildlife and Bear Search is what it's called. And so definitely encourage you to take that. Obviously, you've got that bear watching opportunity back in Ketchikan as well. They also have great whale watching and wildlife viewing here. So I've heard a lot of people say this gives Juneau the run for its money. I've had people tell me they prefer this over Juneau. I haven't done the whale watching here, so I'm not going to say it's necessarily better. But, you know, again, if you love whales and you want to just get back out on a boat and see the whales, another great opportunity to, see whales in a completely different setting, obviously, with the mountains that are surrounding Icy Strait compared to what was around Juneau or even in Ketchikan, or in Sitka, sorry. And so, again, opportunities to see those whales. Hopefully you'll be able to take that shot. I did not take this picture. I wish I did. Every time I've seen this particular thing happen, I did not have my camera with me, or by the time I got the camera up, I took a picture of an amazing splash. And I know you did not want to see pictures of splashes today. So we thought we'd give you the real thing that happens all the time that people can experience when they're traveling. And I'll tell you this, I've seen more of this happening while I'm on the cruise, cruising in the Inside Passage than I have on actual whale watching experiences. So I'm going to give you another tip. Always face the window and look outside. Whenever you're in a restaurant on our ships, if you're in the public areas, please do not sit with your back to the window, because you never know when that whale is going to make an appearance, because moments like this literally happen in seconds. And you definitely want to be looking out that window. So that's another key little tip I wanted to point out to you. You think it sounds pretty straightforward, but I can assure you, when you cruise, you watch and see how many people have their backs to the window and they're missing the incredible things right outside the ship's window. So again, great whale watching here. Kayaking also, if you, again, want to do a little bit more of an outdoor activity, we have some amazing two-seater kayak experiences around Icy Strait that also will present opportunities to see wildlife as well. And then the next day is, the Glacier Day. You are going to experience Yakitat Bay and the famous Hubbard Glacier. And there's several different glaciers, tidewater glaciers in Alaska that you can experience. And this is the Wow Glacier. A lot of people talk about Glacier Bay National Park. Marjorie Glacier there is only about 1.5 miles wide. This one is almost 7 miles wide. The face of it above the water is over 300 feet high. So you're talking about a mammoth wall of ice here with Hubbard Glacier. And so as you sail in, you're going to be sailing in Yakitat Bay. Definitely have your binoculars out. There's bear sighting opportunities there on either side of the ship as you sail in Yakitat Bay. I saw some myself, so you definitely want to be on the lookout for that. But this is Yakitat Bay, where it ends into Disenchantment Bay, which was named after a Spanish explorer who was looking for a passage for the Northwest Passage and literally ran into this wall of ice that's known as Hubbard Glacier today. And it's steadily, still advancing. It's definitely an advancing, glacier. It does close in a lot of the tributary fjords depending on the year. And, it's definitely pushing, that ice and debris down from where it starts, which is the St. Elias Mountains. And so this glacier is 76 miles long. Again, starts in the St. Elias Mountains, 600 feet tall. But again, only 350 feet, I believe, is actually above the waterline. So because you're going to be on a Viking ship, you're going to be looking up at the ice wall. That is how tall it is. And it is unbelievable. That's why we kind of consider this the best glacier experience in all of Alaska, because it is a wow type experience. It starts in the Wrangell, or it ends in the Wrangell St. Elias. It starts up at Mount Logan, which is the second tallest mountain, I should say, in North America, next to Mount McKinley. Interestingly, this snow, this ice that you see here at the end, scientists feel that, and with their scientific research, say that the originally fell as snow, of course, and this snow fell over 500 years ago. And this is what you see now. It's literally taken 500 years from that when the snow fell in the mountains to come all the way down to where it is now, calving out into the water. So, this glacier is absolutely amazing. It's about 2,000 feet thick, even in some of its, in some places. So absolutely incredible. You can see the different colors and how it's, coming down and grinding against the mountains and in some areas down there at the bottom, you can see it's a little bit blacker. That's where it's actually grinding and is pulverized against specific parts of the mountain and turn that into literally powder. So let me ask you a question. So why is the glacier ice blue? So when you see this picture, and if you've seen pictures of glacier, why do you think the glacier is blue? And believe it or not, it's actually better. The colors come out a little bit even more on overcast days than they do in sunny days. But why do you think that is? Well, it's because the ice is so dense that the glacier absorbs all the colors essentially of the spectrum except blue. It reflects blue. So that's why we see blue and nothing else. And so the longer the path the light travels through the ice, because it's so dense, the more blue it appears. So really, that's one of the highlights for me is always just looking for those deep shades of blue. It's really an indescribable blue. Absolutely gorgeous. And again, Hubbard Glacier is a wow day, a wow experience, and it's one that you'll never forget. So definitely a day that I know you're going to come back with lots and lots of memories from. Next port of call, Valdez. If you notice, we're in port literally every single day after that first day inside passage. So you're going to, again, be able to experience Alaska, a nice steady pace, and experience more than those other guests traveling on the other lines that are doing just those quick 7-day cruises. And so Valdez is really a charming town. Obviously, the Exxon Valdez oil spill really brought this probably into the forefront of the public. But it's really still, it's a beautiful setting. It's a deep fjord there in Prince William Sound. We've got a great included experience that, really is more of a walking town, a walking experience, and just experiencing it on your own, although we've got, some guides there and things. But, they've got a wonderful museum. There's a couple of different museums for that matter. But really, there's other things to do too. And, you've got to be able to get out and see the incredible countryside. You maybe take a boat cruise out to Columbia Glacier. Look at that. It's, gorgeous. And that was a day I'll never forget. Just absolutely beautiful, mountains reflecting off the water. The water was literally, as calm as a pond, and just an absolutely spectacular day. And, going up to, Columbia Glacier, making your way to the Columbia Glacier is really, the highlight of the experience before, returning. But there's also a privileged access experience here that you can go on. And this is talks about the devastating Good Friday earthquake of 1964. And so you'll hear firsthand accounts, behind the scenes, firsthand accounts and meeting those that lived through this. This was a earthquake that was over 9.2 on the Richter scale. And it caused so much damage, and so much of the town slid into the sea that they actually moved the city, I think it was 3 miles or 4 miles back to where it is now currently. So the incredible devastation that was wrought on the town of Valdez. And so you'll be able to learn about that again with that privileged access experience. Now you come into Seward, and Seward has a lot of possibilities. We overnight in Seward. So you're actually going to get a full day and evening in Seward to enjoy before disembarking the following day. And so what do you do in Seward? Well, if you're not sick of watching whales, I would definitely encourage you to go into the Kenai Fjords. The Kenai Fjords is what the Alaskans refer to as their playground. That's where the Alaskans go for vacation, is to go down and experience the best of the Kenai Fjords. And so we've got a couple different Kenai Fjords cruises. One goes out as far out as Resurrection Bay. Great whale watching opportunities again, sea otters. You'll see a lot of different variety of whales, just like you do on the others. So again, if you want to get out on that, you definitely can do that. There's also a great marine wildlife center here, the Seward, marine wildlife. Oh gosh, that's not right. The Seward Sea Life Center, I think is what it is. Sorry, my mind's going blank, but We've got some experiences there. We've got some behind the scenes, again, with a privileged access of going behind the scenes, behind closed doors, and experiencing the Sea Life Center. You can take an excursion up to Alieska Resort, which is a beautiful resort. Go up the top, on their tram. You can go dog sledding. You can go, get on helicopter and do a flight seeing experience. So a lot of things to do in Seward. So the next day, on day 11, when you disembark the ship, you've got some options. I want to just kind of leave you with this final tip, and we'll be finishing up, is that pretty much all the flights are going to be departing late at night. So you're going to have another full day here. And I definitely encourage you to do one of our post extensions. But if you have to go get back and fly home, then I would encourage you to talk to your travel advisor and have them book you on the Great Alaska Railroad from Seward to Anchorage. That is one of the most scenic portions of the Great Alaska Railroad, which starts in Seward and ends in Fairbanks. And you're going to be rewarded with some breathtaking scenery, very relaxing train experience as you go along the fjords there and into Anchorage. So definitely talk to your travel advisor about that, and you definitely consider transferring by train, because I think you'd really enjoy that experience versus a normal transfer. Of course, you can go right on in, get off the ship early, go spend a day in Anchorage if you want. But again, it's one of those experiences that I highly recommend in getting on that beautiful scenic rail journey. So just quickly, exploring more, I can't stress you enough, to consider doing a pre or post package. Top of the list, number one, you got to do the Denali Explorer, 5 nights where you go up to Denali National Park. You get to go in the park and see Mount McKinley, or now known as Mount Denali, and just take it all in. This is the heart and soul of Alaska when you get up into the middle part with Mount Denali and Denali National Park. So definitely encourage you to look at that. Of course, there's other experiences like the pristine Alaska. We've got the Vancouver pre or post, depending on the direction you're traveling, with our 2 nights in Vancouver. You can even do a Rocky Mountaineer journey for 6 nights before boarding your ship as well. And we've got other packages you can see there, 2 nights in Anchorage if you want to just do that. Don't forget, depending on the time of year, you can always stay and fish, gentlemen. So maybe you can have your wives, shop, tell them you can go shop to your heart's content, and you're going to fish for salmon all day. So that'd be a pretty good trade-off. So you can definitely do that there in the Kenai Peninsula or there just right outside of Anchorage. So I'm going to spend literally 2 minutes on our ship because I've gone way too long. I hope all of you have stayed with me on this beautiful destination. So again, our ships are all identical, 930 guests. We have a beautiful wraparound promenade deck to get out and stretch your legs, all veranda and suite staterooms, so no inside, no ocean view. We've got multiple dining venues, but these ships are designed with really an understated elegance. Very well appointed public rooms, library, music and entertainment, there in the evening. Of course, our lovely art and history lectures that we do. But it's all about relaxing and just comfort. And it's a picture of the atrium area on our vessels. And again, just a beautiful ship, easy to navigate. Again, only 930 guests. Again, these ships are just not being built in today's world with this ship size. So we definitely feel like this is the way to travel. We've got a beautiful indoor pool that has a retractable dome roof. Got a wonderful infinity pool in the aft stern of the vessel as well, looking out. Again, imagine traveling through the inside passage with that view. And of course, a wonderful spa. So we've got, some great amenities and ways to relax, multiple dining venues. I'm not going to go through all of these because I'm long on time. So please talk to your travel advisor if you have any questions specifically about cuisine. But all of our, meals, all the restaurants are included in your cruise fare. There's no surcharges to go in any of our restaurants. And of course, we have 24-hour room service. Our staterooms are just absolutely the perfect retreat, as it says. Open, lots of storage space, wonderful bathrooms that you can walk in, heated floors, walk-in showers. Again, just really great, accommodations. Our verandas, deluxe verandas start at 270 square feet. Our Penthouse Junior Suite, just to kind of show you a couple of different categories, jumps up to 338 feet, 340 square feet in that range. And then our one of the bathrooms there for the Penthouse Junior Suite. Essentially, the layout is the same, though, for our veranda, deluxe veranda, just maybe a little bit narrower and not quite as long. And then we have premium bathroom amenities as well. Again, those heated floors, anti-fog mirrors, really those large glass enclosed walk-in showers are what our guests tell us they love the most. So I'll leave you with one of my favorite travel quotes. And it's just simply this: traveling, it leaves you speechless, then it turns you into a storyteller. And I hope I've been able to give you a few stories today that will inspire you to travel to the great land and to the amazing state of Alaska and all it has to offer. So I want to thank you for joining us today. Again, I apologize for running a little late, but I hope you've enjoyed it. And I'm going to turn this back over to Michael and go from there.
Great, Richard. So we do have a few questions. And the first question is, if you're traveling to Alaska and you want to see the salmon run, when is the best time to do that?
So the king salmon start running in, I want to say the earliest part of the summer. So depending on where you are will depend on what salmon are running at the time. Silver coho pretty much start running at the very end of August, early September. The sockeye salmon tend to start running mid-August, early August possibly. That's what I saw a lot of in Ketchikan, for example. They were pretty much spawned out, and I was there the first week of September. So I'd probably say the sockeyes start early August. The king salmon, definitely earliest in the summer. I think the pink or chum salmon are somewhere in between, but that's definitely something, you can obviously Google or talk to your travel advisor about. But that's a great question because, especially if you want to bear watch, you definitely want to time it to where you know that one of the salmon are running and you'll be able to maximize your viewing.
Perfect. And then the next question is, for those guests that are considering both directions, Vancouver to Seward or Seward to Vancouver, what would you recommend?
Well, the old wives' tale is that, you're going to be so exhausted, you want to go southbound and, start in Seward and all. The problem with that is we do a 10-day itinerary, and the first day you're going to be in Valdez. So you're not going to, have a day at sea to relax and all that. Obviously, we want you to go in early. But as I mentioned earlier, I love the northbound. I just feel like that sense of excitement as it builds, as you're going north and finishing in Anchorage. And again, hopefully you're going to be able to go and do our land extension and go to Denali, especially if you add Denali on. That is the way to go, in my opinion, because again, northbound, everything builds, and then you finish your vacation the last day, 2 days in Denali National Park. I can't think of a better place to end a vacation than Denali. So I think that would be a great way to do it, go northbound.
Great. And then just from listening to your presentation, you seem to be biased towards whale watching in Juneau. Is there, is that the best place to watch whales, or in your?
Yeah, I mean, look, I apologize for all the whale pictures I threw in there. That I'm kind of proud of those. Look, I'm born and raised in Alabama. Never seen a whale before in my life, until I went to Alaska. And I don't know, there's something about, just seeing the whales. I just love being out on the water, to be quite honest with you. I love the history aspect as well. So that's why I definitely, like in Ketchikan, would focus more of my native Alaskan opportunities to learn about the Tlinkits in Ketchikan. So then when I'm in Juneau or Icy Strait or even in the Kenai Fjords, I can focus on the wildlife. I think Alaska, the special moments you create in Alaska, yes, you're going to meet some locals and have some immersive experiences, but to me, it's all about the wildlife. I just think, as I mentioned earlier, you can go 20 times and want to go a 21st. Why is that? Well, I say that because every time you go, you're going to experience the wildlife completely different than the time before. And the surprise, you just never know what's around the corner. You never know what you're going to see when you look out the window when you're in Alaska and cruising, because like I said, I've seen more whales doing a full breach out of the water from the ship as we're cruising than I have on an actual whale watching. So it's that's just something that I love. It's just a personal preference. But again, there's such a variety of experiences in every port of call that, if that's not your thing, do it at least once. Please do it at least once, and then focus on the history aspect.
Great. And then one last question. One of our guests is considering traveling to Alaska in May. What is the weather like during May?
So May, definitely cooler temperatures. You'll have a little bit more definite darkness at night because it's early in the season. I've traveled every month in Alaska, May through September. And so I had just an incredible experience in May as I did in just this past cruise when I went the first week of September. But I've done it literally every single month. I saw just as many whales in May. A lot of people say, oh, well, the whales aren't up there in May. They're there. They're ready to eat. They've made the trek from Hawaii. So I would say daytime temperatures on this type of cruise, you're going to obviously get colder as you head farther north, but daytime temperatures, mid 50s, high 50s, possibly low 60s, but especially when you're in the Tongass National Forest, that's a rainforest. So there's a little bit of a chill in the air. So, I would say definitely, mid to high 50s consistently. And of course, once you get up to Anchorage, it could be low 50s for highs, but hey, as we all know, it only takes, one cold front or one warm front to come in and it changes and everything, 5 to 10 degrees. So definitely dress in layers. That would be my other thing. Do not take heavy coats. And when you're on the ship, I'll leave you with this final tip because I learned this the hard way on my first trip to Alaska. Wear comfortable clothes, short sleeve shirts, again, layers, things while you're on the ship. It's not freezing on the ship. So the first time I traveled to Alaska, I took all long sleeve shirts and sweatshirts and sweaters and jackets and all that. And I ended up going to the gift shop the very first day buying short sleeve shirts because I did not pack one and I was burning up because, I didn't think that, it's going to be room temperature on the ship. So anyway, another little tip there for you to finish the day.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your presentation, Richard. And I just want to thank all of our travel advisors and their clients for attending today. If you have any questions on any Viking Alaska itinerary or any of Viking's itineraries, please reach out to your favorite travel advisor. Thank you so much for attending Traveling Virtually with Viking, and we will see you next time.